secret to feeling fabulous was a bunch of tiny critters inside you? Yep, you're a walking, talking party of 70 trillion cells, and 38 trillion of them are just waiting to boogie in your microbiome. Your microbiome affects basically everything: your mood, digestion, energy, and so much more. But here's the buzzkill. Junk food, Netflix binges, and that 24/7 hustle, they're like party crashers for your gut rave. So what can you do? Enter the life of the party, doTERRA PB Restore Probiome Complex. A revolution in probiotics and full microbiome health. With our innovative dual chamber capsule, we ensure that 18 billion active cells reach your gut alive and ready to work. This isn't your grandma's probiotic. It's a dance crew of pre, pro, and postbiotics, all grooving in perfect harmony. And those bacteriophages, they're the bouncers, showing unwanted bacteria the exit. This comprehensive approach puts doTERRA PB Restore ahead of its competitors, making it the market leader in strain and species diversity. We formulated doTERRA PB Restore with 4 key mechanisms: superior diversity of probiotic strains, prebiotics to fuel them, a postbiotic to create fast action benefits, and a blend of 4 phages for targeted action against unwanted bacteria. While other probiotics are struggling to find their rhythm, doTERRA PB Restore is bringing a crowd to their feet. A diverse microbiome is a healthy microbiome. PB Restore gives your gut the tools it needs for full body health, better digestion, metabolism, respiratory health, and more. When you give your microbiome what it needs, it can get your gut and you into the groove. Try doTERRA PB Restore today and feel the difference in as little as 30 days. And if you're not satisfied, we'll give you your money back. doTERRA. Pursue what's pure.
Life of the party, I was waiting for that. I have been waiting for this product for a very, very long time. So hi, I'm Dr. Tania Jooste, and today is my playing field. This is what I absolutely live for. Let me explain. Here I stand. I'm a bustling factory of bacteria, fungi, viruses that infect bacteria, amoeba, other single cell organisms, and all they're doing left, right, and center is making micro poop. And let me tell you something, there is way more of them than there are human cells of me. Look at that. Isn't that perfection? I think it's such beautiful magnificence. I've had a fascination with microbial species since late high school. I transitioned from a career in ballet dancing to pursue science. And I had this dream of one day working in a biosafety level 3 or 4 laboratory with the full spacesuit and the air ventilator like you see in 12 Monkeys. Some of you may be too young to know what 12 Monkeys is. I reached that goal. I worked in a biosafety level 3 laboratory for many years with some pretty sinister viruses, Rift Valley fever and West Nile. I also worked with some more docile viruses like HIV, the retrovirus that's very quiet at the moment out there in the field. But I have also worked with much friendlier microbes. So that's me in 2011 in one of our laboratories in Montreal, Canada. I have worked with things like Aspergillus niger, which is a fungus. We use this to produce enzymes, by the way, Terrazyme. Just on the side note, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is of course a yeast that we use in the baking industry and to make some other things, but I used Saccharomyces cerevisiae for bioethanol production. I later moved into the yeast industry, and I was the QA/QC manager, quality assurance and quality control for one of the leading yeast manufacturers in the world at the time. And we of course produced 20 to 30 tons of yeast every 48 hours. I don't know if anyone comprehends how quickly those yeast cells can multiply when you give it the food that it needs to grow and the right conditions and pH. And what was beautiful was that this yeast was used to make all the bread that you eat. Most of the wine fermentation, the wine that you drink, fermented with various different strains of yeast. Whiskey, distillation, made from yeast. And then of course, beer. All of that comes from fermentation with a brewer's yeast. Now, in between helping my clients with digestion and supporting them with their microbiome, you can find me in my second laboratory. And this is where I go and harvest some of my organic vegetables from my garden, and I take it to my kitchen, which is also my lab. And here I'm constantly fermenting things like goat kefir, kombucha, and I'm also fermenting some of the vegetables, because I know for my body, some of these vegetables need to be fermented and be broken down even further to support my particular microbiome. It's all very exciting now, but around 10 to 12 years ago, not so much fun. I made a decision to change my diet. And I did this for two reasons. Number one, I started learning about all these microbes, and of course now you know, I have an absolute fascination for all things small under the microscope. But number two, I made that decision because that was a very small thing that I could do that would have the biggest meaningful impact on my daily discomfort that I was experiencing in my body, in my digestive tract, and pretty much all aspects of my life. So I started changing my diet, and for those of you that have done that, you will know that is no small feat. If you can master what you put in your mouth, you can pretty much master anything, let me tell you that. That is a lot of willpower. And basically, from there, it's about 8 years ago now, I started doing some DNA analysis. I did a lot of blood tests as well, so I could fine-tune this diet, but I was still using a significant amount of medication just to decrease the discomfort in my body to a level where I could operate every single day. And then about 6.5 years ago, doTERRA came around, and I switched to using plant medicines, essential oils, and I started smart supplementation for my nutrient deficiencies. And it was only then that I unlocked the next level of my wellness. And for the first time in very many years, I physically experienced how good my body was designed to feel. And all of you sitting here, when you feel that wellness, you will know.
Woo-woo.
The most up-to-date research links a healthy, diverse ecosystem or microbiome to a healthier and resilient human overall. Today, I would like to share with you what we could do to encourage a healthy and thriving ecosystem inside and on top of our bodies. We're going to be paying special attention to my favorite topic, the microbiome, how it affects us, and what we can do to support it. So these words are used interchangeably quite often, microbiota, microbiome. But if I can get a little bit technical, you know I do the science and I always go a level deeper. Microbiota or microbes are referring to the microorganisms themselves. So these are the bacteria, the viruses, the fungi, the protozoa, bacteriophages, which are the viruses that infect bacteria, and they live in various niches on your body. They're everywhere. They're in my eyes, they're in my nose, they're on my skin, they're in my mouth, they're in my respiratory tract, they're in my lungs, of course they're in my digestive system, even in the female reproductive system. Everywhere that has contact with the outside layers of the earth and that has a mucus layer, all right? So these organisms live in these different areas and they have a preference for certain things like pH, whether there's oxygen present or not. The ones deep inside your gut don't like oxygen so much. They also have a sensitivity to particular environmental pollutants, and it's all different. So the ones growing inside my mouth differ from the ones in my eyes, from the ones that are in my digestive tract. And when we look at these microbes, they have genes, they have genomic material. And for those of you that were at my talk last year, you'll remember when I was teaching about how we use macronutrients. I, again, was speaking about the microbiome and the foods we were eating and how important these various foods are. Because we mere humans have only 20,000 genes. It's actually pretty pathetic. We cannot produce all the metabolites or the molecules that we need to live and to thrive every single day. So instead, what we've done is very clever. We have co-evolved with these organisms. So we exploit them for their genes. We give them a nice cushy place to stay, and they produce poop. They poop out metabolites, and this is what we need. Collectively, they have more than 1 million genes. So that is why we have this ecosystem, and we are in harmony with most of them. But because of those genes, we then start referring to them in omics in science. And that's where the microbiome comes. So when we talk about microbiome, we talk about the organisms, but also their genes, which is magnificent, because that also then refers to the role they play in a specific niche within your body. So it's all very exciting. And again, I'm going to say this for the third time now. Diversity in your microorganisms is going to be giving or resulting in a more resilient human. So that means, what in the deeper meaning, the bigger the range of microorganisms, okay, not always the bad ones, the bigger the range of the what we call commensal, the ones we live in harmony with, the bigger that range and the amount, the number of them, the more there are of them, the healthier you are going to be, and also the happier, as you'll learn through the rest of these slides. So how big a role does the microbiome in your digestive tract play? Depending on whose research you read, between 70 to 80% of the immune system sits in your gut. So if your gut microbes are a little bit unbalanced, you're living a very high-strung lifestyle, your immune system is probably not doing so well. All right, they play a very big role because they're speaking to your immune system all of the time. More than that, of course, they help you break down your food so that you can get the nutrients out of what it is that you're putting into your mouth. So they break down the fiber, the carbs, and the protein together with the digestive enzymes in your digestive tract. They can help you with weight management. This is quite an interesting one. They can influence and improve your athletic performance, but also the tiredness you feel afterwards, so they can make you feel less tired after very strenuous physical exercise. They help you with energy regulation, healthy inflammatory response. Here's the catch-22. They help you sleep. If you have poor sleep, it upsets your bugs. If your bugs are upset, you don't sleep very well. So it really, really is important that you link those two up and that you understand that they have a very deep connection. Of course, they're going to be affecting your mood and even hormonal health. We have come a very long way since waging war on every single microbe. We used to believe that they're all bad and we need to sterilize them all and we need to kill them all. We isolated our first anaerobic and cultured, which means we grew it in a lab, anaerobic without oxygen in 1944. And you would think, wow, that's quite a long while ago. Why is it only now that we're really starting to hear about all these things called microbiomes and microbiota? Well, most of the biggest advances have been made in the last 20 to 30 years. It took us as humans quite a while to develop the technologies to help us understand the relationship between the microbiome and the human, and also how it functions in the various areas inside of our body. It's been very slow and a complicated process. We still don't know half of it, I'm sure, but we do have a clearer idea of what it is that they do for us and what we need to do to help them. And today I'm going to share some of those basics with you. I hope I instill just a teeny weeny bit of gratitude or appreciation in you for what these amazing microbes are doing, and that will inspire you to rather eat for your microbiome instead of your body. So I want to ask a question here. Do not be scared to raise your hand. Who here tried to ferment pineapple beer in the great lockdown of 2020? So other countries were running out of toilet paper on the shelves. South Africans were running out of pineapple and brewer's yeast off the shelves. We simply took a bucket, we chucked some pineapple or pineapple skins in there. Hopefully we remembered to wash the bucket beforehand. Water, some of us had yeast at home, some did not. Left the lid open, wild yeast from the air fell inside, and you had this brewing process going on. Some batches were really delicious and some probably gave us a little bit of an upset tummy. So what's happening there? We have the food, the pineapple, which is the carbohydrate, that's fueling the growth of the yeast, the brewer's yeast you had in your cupboard. Some of us even tried baker's yeast. Didn't work so well. And some of us had the wild yeast. So you have this fuel, and then the microbes replicate, they start making CO2, and they ferment, hopefully making some alcohol together with all the other nasty components if it was quite contaminated. So the fuel is the prebiotic, and we have the microbe, right, which is in that case the yeast, and they're micro-pooping out the ethanol, which is the secondary metabolite, or the postbiotic. When we compare this to a real industrial beer manufacturing process, they thoroughly clean the equipment first. So we have an SIP or a CIP, working in the industry for a very long time. I loved working with those incredibly large fermenters. We use steam in place, so you literally shoot steam through all the pipes, or you use chemicals. That's what the CIP is for, cleaning in place with chemicals. Then everything is clean. Now in a beer fermentation process, you're going to be adding things like hops and the grains, which are the carbohydrates, the fuel, the food for what you're going to put in with the microbes. So things like malt and barley, and in our case, pineapple at home. And then you add this beautiful yeast, and it starts fermenting, and it poops out CO2 and ethanol. Our secondary metabolites, postbiotics. A very similar process is happening inside of your body. Unluckily, we don't make that much ethanol. We actually make very little ethanol, but it's the same concept. We have our own cleaning crew. They are called bacteriophages. They are healthy viruses that infect particular pathogenic bacteria, and they destabilize their cell wall. So they make way for the good microbes to do their work. Then we have the fuel. So this would be the pineapple. We have prebiotics. This is going to be your soluble and your insoluble fibers that you find in all of your vegetables and fruit. And we have polyphenols, all the magical colors of the rainbow. There's a reason why your grandma said eat the rainbow. That's the reason. We're feeding our resident microbiota. So this is the microbiota, all the organisms living within your system, on your skin, in your eyes. And then if you start supplementing and you start helping out the resident microbiota, when you start adding a supplement with this bacterial component with some other goodies in there, we start calling it a probiotic. So this is the microbes themselves, but a probiotic is defined that it's going to be something that confers health benefits to the host when administered in adequate amounts. And those two work in harmony together. The probiotics, as well as your resident microbiota, they outcompete our invaders. So they actually fill every little crevice they can so that there's no space to land for the opportunistic guys that want to start causing an infection. So these all then work together. They use the fuel and they poop out our fourth P, which is postbiotics, secondary metabolites. And this is actually what we're after. This is what is conferring health to us as humans. Simply put, postbiotics are helpful substances made by probiotics and the resident microbiota that deliver benefits long after your probiotic supplement has left your body, because they are transient. They're not made to be able to take residence in your gut long term. Your existing microbiota do that. And this is how the microbiome affects us. They produce all these metabolites that have an effect on your metabolic health, cardiovascular health, oral health, skin health, reproductive, hormone, mental health, and many more. And most of you, from all the talking that I do about my passion, know about the gut-brain axis and this amazing two-way highway. So these bacteria also produce short-chain fatty acids. And for those of you that remember the talk from last year, when you're eating too much sugar and too much simple carbs, that sugar ends up in your colon because not everything was used up. And then the bad guys, the proteobacteria, make something called lipopolysaccharide, which is inflammatory causing. It makes war in your gut. Your immune system is on end. And then we have the good guys that are using the soluble and the insoluble fibers. If you're eating a whole foods, fiber-rich diet with all the different colors, and they're producing things like butyrate, which is anti-inflammatory, and it's always this amazing balance going on in your body. Butyrate versus lipopolysaccharide. A little bit more complicated than that, but that explains the gist of it. But it's these short-chain fatty acids that also travel up to the brain and tell your brain what's going on. We're eating food. You don't have to stress out. It's not war inside here. This is good stuff. We need to take the nutrients out.
And that's also exactly what they do. They are helping you with getting the nutrients. So they even produce some of our vitamins, like vitamin B1, B2, B12, folate, vitamin K, and other amino acids. So when we become micronutrient deficient, yes, our diet has a role to play, but if you are struggling with your microbes in your gut, there could be another reason. They're not producing the molecules that you need. And of course, they make incredible neurotransmitters. They physically have the ability to raise the basal level of neurotransmitters and modulators that we call GABA, dopamine, and serotonin. Even if you don't know what these things do, I'm sure you know those words by now. They're the guys we need to feel good every single day. And by raising the basal level, your brain is still doing a lot of the production of those chemicals. But because your basal level is higher from that video that we heard this morning, when Dr. Stevens introduced the probiome, you feel better. And this is the reason why. They also make many other molecules that are actually very beneficial for your body. So, what habits promote a healthy microbiome? The same healthy lifestyle habits that promote wellness in nearly every other aspect of your life. We know that color coding very well by now, don't we? It is, of course, a balanced, nutritious diet that helps them as much as it helps you. Exercise, plenty of restful sleep, and decreasing your environmental toxin load as much as possible. Now we're going to look in a little bit more detail what potentially stands in our way of hosting a thriving and diverse microbiome. The human condition, unfortunately. Microbiome diversity declines with age. So when we're born, whether through cesarean or through the vaginal canal, we have this starter pack that is inserted into our bodies. And then it rapidly starts to colonize in the digestive tract. By the age of 2, your digestive tract is filled with lactobacillus and bifidobacteria, which are the good guys, closely resembles that of a young adult, and it stays relatively stable throughout your life, depending on how many toxins you expose your body to, how much stress you have, how poor your sleep is, etc. And then at the age of 60, lactobacillus and bifidobacteria start losing ground. And that's when the bad guys, the enterococcus, which are opportunistic bacteria, they want to make infection. So because those decline and the surfaces become empty, they start taking over. Unless, of course, you start looking after your lifestyle. We are struggling a little bit with the food that we're taking in. We are eating industrialized, sanitized food. And it's a far cry from the abundance of plant material with soluble and insoluble fiber, polyphenols, the colors we need to be consuming to support a very large range of microbes. We say it's sanitized because of all the pesticides we use. We don't just spray the crops to ward off the pests. We actually spray the crops to dry them out, especially the cereal grains, as they're lying there on the surface of the ground. So we're consuming them all the time. It's actually quite shocking. Our ultra-processed foods also contain things like very processed seed oils, which are very inflammatory causing in your digestive tract. We also have this new health craze of drinking nut milks. I don't actually want to get started going down that highway. They contain these seed oils, but more than that, they contain emulsifiers. They add that in there because they don't want the oil and the water to separate. Because it looks ugly when you buy something that's separated in layers in the shop, doesn't it? So they add the emulsifier, but what that's doing is it's thinning out the mucus layer in your digestive tract. And what that results in is a digestive barrier that doesn't work so well. So now you have food molecules that cross, you have bad bacteria that gets into your bloodstream. It's really not a good situation to be in. So those health nut milks, sorry, they're not healthy. Make your own, it's very easy. Of the 250 to 300,000 different edible plant species on this earth, we only eat 150 to 200 of them. And 75% of the world's food generated from only 12 plants and 5 animals. Modern food systems effectively starve your microbiome of the diversity it needs to thrive. We need the different fibers, insoluble and soluble. We need the different colors, the polyphenols. And when you say to me, which ones are the best, I'm going to say all of them. Eat whatever your body can tolerate. Because when you start cutting things out, you start losing those microbes. And then you start losing diversity and also some of the feel-good molecules that you need in your body to thrive. So what else can we look at so that we can identify these areas of improvement to promote diversity? Who here eats 4 to 6 portions of kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, any other fermented foods at home every single day? I ferment my own, but not even I can get in 4 to 6 portions a day because I'm simply not producing enough. Did you know that 1/3 to 2/3 of what you poop out every day is microbes? So we're very good at getting rid of them, but we're not replenishing. So let's look at ways of how we can replenish. Number one, we've got to eat a whole foods diet with as many plant fibers as we can, as many colors as we can, all right? And we have to minimize the sugar, I'm sorry. We have to minimize the simple carbs. And we do need to look alcohol dead in the eye and say, excessive alcohol use actually does sterilize your gut. Not only the alcohol we drink, but also in our hand sanitizers. Remember, it kills the good with the bad. So now you can't have something there. The good is gone. So now you have nothing there to outcompete the bad guys when they land on your skin. So that's why you get skin infections and skin irritations. The same goes to say for mouthwash with alcohol in it. You're cleaning out the good and the bad. You're killing all of it. So now, unfortunately, the bad guys are going to take over if there's no good guys that are colonizing all of it. So we've really got to start thinking and focusing what it is that we're putting inside of our mouths and on top of our skins. And as we start taking greater responsibility for our health, we feel more empowered to address issues that don't necessarily require the assistance of a medical professional. And we do need to know that, of course, while it's important to see a doctor when the situation calls for it, when you're proactive about your health, instead of reactive, you really start understanding that minor issues can actually be solved at home. And that's what I started doing 6.5 years ago when I switched to essential oils. There are many medications that actually cause an unbalance in your gut microbiome. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, even decongestants. And of course we know antibiotics. Overuse of antibiotics, when you need them, and leave that there for them when you need them, because it strips your entire digestive tract. And I can tell you, I've been there, I've got the t-shirt. I was using anti-inflammatories, pain medications, decongestants, skin irritant creams. I think there was a couple of other Schedule 4 and 5 pain medications in there for female hormone health problems as well. It is not a good place to be in, because you're literally just wafting through the day. You're managing, because it's like dozing you off, so the pain's there, but you sort of forget about it. And you destroy everything in the process. We have these really amazing tools. Unlock that next level with me and start using your natural essential oils when you can, when the medical doctor is not required for some of these issues that are being very supported with the essential oils. I can say I haven't had to use any of those Schedule 4 or 5 medications since I started using doTERRA. And I made that switch because of my lifestyle together with the oils. Food, very important, obviously. And I look forward to hearing what Dr. Stevens and Dr. Danielle share with us with the tools and information they have to help us with all the rest of the sections in our lifestyle pyramid, because we've got some really amazing tools. And I would like us to take the first step, because people who move more, who exercise daily, have a more diverse microbiome compared to those that are sedentary. And of course, the diversity increases when you take your movement outside. So it's good that we have these tools that can support us, because they are foundational. When you have micronutrient deficiencies, supplement with LLV, Lifelong Vitality Pack. We have MetaPower System, helps you to utilize your macronutrients more appropriately, also helping with the stabling of the blood sugar and the weight maintenance. And now we have this white elephant on the slide. Or is that a black elephant? Introducing doTERRA's PB Probiome Full Body Restore product with 30 bioactive components and 18 billion live active cells at the time of use. I just want to hydrate. This product has been formulated to support digestive health, gut barrier integrity, gut immune function, micronutrient absorption, healthy metabolism, respiratory health, dermatological health, so skin health, oral health, teeth included. It may also support cardiovascular and urogenital health, plus brain and DNA function. No, this is definitely something Dr. Danielle is going to talk about. There is nothing else like it in the South African market. I am in the market. I'm always on this looking and searching for these things. And I know many of us, especially the ones with digestive health issues, are already using a probiotic. So how do you evaluate what you're currently using? And can you use this criteria then to also stack up how PB Restore compares? Firstly, we want to support our bodies with multiple strains, so a diversity of strains, not just one or two or a few. And the reason for that is we're looking for the diversity. Unless, of course, you are working with a functional medicine doctor or a GP and they have you on a particular strain for a particular symptom or a disease. You can always just check whether that strain is included, of course. You want to also make sure, is your supplement added or has it got something added? So not just the probiotic microbe. Is there prebiotic fiber in there? Remember, we need the fuel. And if that's going into your intestines and you're not having enough fiber in your diet, what are they going to eat? So we need the fuel source with the probiotics in the same supplement, the prebiotic fiber. We also want to make sure that the supplement is gluten as well as sugar-free. Many of the probiotics actually contain sugar. And then you're feeding the wrong bacteria. Next up, we want to make very sure what the origin of the strains are. Of course, human origin is very good. That's preferred. We can supplement with some animal, plant, and root ones as well. Human does not mean we isolated it from humans. Okay? There's no human material in this probiotic supplement. It just means it's a strain that is able to actually multiply and grow within inside the human body and confer health benefits, right? So yes, it was isolated from a human many, many years ago, and it's now safely grown in a lab, quality controlled, all the particular strains grown together, all very, very clean. Next up, we want to look for potency. Are your strains alive when you take them? Because this is where the colony forming units come in, that you all know about. There's so much research that has come out, and if you look at the meta-analysis, a supplement that has between, I'd say, 10 to 20 billion with many different strains is preferable. It is the absolute gold standard. And you want to make sure that they're alive at the time when you take them. Unfortunately, some companies publish their colony forming units at the time of manufacture. And let me tell you, as soon as they put them in that capsule, they start dying. And especially with our South African temperatures, they don't last that long. And if you are going to publish the CFU at date of manufacture, if you're using that even a week before the best before date, it's probably no longer alive. So always check that. Are they saying CFU at date of manufacture, or are they promising that that's the CFU right through to the end of the shelf life? Then we're going to be looking at survivability and viability. This one is quite important, of course, because our stomach is not a very nice place to be. It is very acidic, it is very hostile. A lot of the probiotics contain bifidobacteria. We need these. Unfortunately, most bifidobacteria strains don't make it through the stomach. And we need them in the intestines. We don't need them in the stomach. So you're wasting your money because they're all getting torn to shreds by the stomach enzymes. So when we are looking at survivability and viability here, we are definitely looking for a supplement that has some kind of encapsulation technology, so a capsule within a capsule, or that is enteric coated, which means it's coated so that it can pass through the stomach unharmed and end up in the intestines where we need it. And then can you scroll down for me, please? And then, is your probiotic supplement backed by science? This is very important. We have hundreds of strains in our digestive tract. Only a portion of those we can find in probiotics, simply because we can't culture them inside info there. We just really struggle to let them grow in the lab. But more than that, only a fraction of the ones that we find in probiotics are actually clinically validated to confer health benefits to the host. So you need to make sure, are the strains that are in your probiotic actually backed by clinical research? Behold, all 30 bioactive components on one slide. We're not going to go through all of that, we will be here for 3 days, but I am just going to highlight some of them. So we have a prebiotic, the fructolactosaccharides, which is the fiber that we need. We typically get that from things like artichokes, tomatoes, even things like honey. All right, so this is the fiber that's in there. And this is going to be the food. Then we have a postbiotic. Now, this is something that you're not going to be used to in the South African market. Remember, the postbiotic is the micro poop. It's the secondary metabolite, the things that the bugs make that we are looking for. Here, we've included a postbiotic, and this is a ghost probiotic that's going to be like something that your innate immune system sees, and it's going to have a reaction. And it's very supportive for respiratory health. And I know there's many people that are feeling some respiratory issues at the moment. You probably could have done with this probiotic if you started taking it a week or two ago. It's very good for activating the immune system, specifically for that. And then we have 4 different phages. This is the cleaning crew. So they are going to be looking at finding the pathogens that are not so great for your urinary system, that are not so great for your digestive tract, and they're going to take care of them, and they're going to clear the way so that the probiotics can come and do their good work. All 3 of those, in other words, the 4 phages, the postbiotic and the prebiotic, they're all in the outer capsule. And in that outer capsule, we then have that dark green inner capsule. And inside the dark green capsule, we then have the 24 strains that have meticulously been selected by doTERRA for their clinical results that they have provided and very specific functions. So here, these strains were selected because, number 1, they increase healthy bacterial counts. Some of them even work together. So IMC 501 and 502, they work as a team together and they help increase diversity. They're also inhibiting unwanted bacteria. We have strains in here that support lactose digestion. So those of you that struggle with lactose and don't want to give up the cheese, we have digestive enzymes for that, by the way. But here we have a strain that's also going to help, or there's actually several strains that are going to help you with the lactose digestion. And what does that mean? Less bloating and less discomfort in your digestive tract. You definitely can have smoother bowel movements, as you heard in that video. Those of you that struggle with that kind of thing, this is going to be an absolute blessing to you. And this is gold for me. Tight linkages, gut barrier integrity, because this is the field I work in. We need this probiotic because of the strains, and it's fortifying that intestinal barrier, which is really good. It can also help you with lipid and fat metabolism, tiredness after exercise, that athletic performance I was talking about. We have some of those strains in here as well. We also have strains in here that help with weight management specifically. Healthy teeth, oral mucosal. It also promotes skin health, and you're going to be having visual improvement in occasional blemishes or dryness. So skin dryness, I'm like really looking forward to this probiotic in our Joburg winter. And then mood support, because there are strains in here that produce the good molecules, the GABAs. So GABA is obviously very calming, and it's going to be really supportive if you have occasional anxious feelings. And I think this is gold for me when I saw this. I am a cat mom. I do not have human children, but I think for those of you that are thinking to have children, listen up. They have a strain in here that is going to reduce the occurrence of this digestive discomfort in infants as part of a maternal prenatal supplementation during the last 4 weeks of pregnancy. That is absolutely magic. I don't know of any other probiotic in the market that does that. So 1 dual chamber capsule a day with a meal is going to support your body's microbiome with unparalleled diversity in just 1 supplement. And why do we need to take it every single day? Because we poop everything out all the time, and we're kidding it with most of our lifestyle decisions. And we're not eating the diet that we need. We're not eating all the fibers. So this is the dual capsule. You'll see on the outside, there's like a liquid that's going to look a little bit milky that has the fructolactosaccharides or the prebiotics in there. And it's got the 4 phages in there, which are going to do their golden work even before the probiotics are released. And then we have that postbiotics, which is going to activate the innate immune system for respiratory health. So that is all in the outer capsule. That opens first in the stomach, right? Then that inner capsule only opens in your digestive tract. So this is obviously patented, and that inner capsule only opens in the intestines so that it can deliver all 24 probiotic strains where they need to be in your intestines. It is time specific. So that's also the reason why there's a specific way that you're going to be using these probiotics, and we'll get to that in a minute. All the ingredients have been clinically researched, and the benefits of this full body supplement extend way beyond the gut. This one is for gut health, for your skin, for your mouth, respiratory, vaginal, and even for the infant. The product is tested for glyphosate, gluten, dairy, and sugar, and it's of course free of all of those, and it has a 30-day money-back guarantee, which is absolutely amazing. doTERRA really backs their products. So, yeah, it's awesome. Here's a table with some of the best probiotics in South Africa. If yours is not on here, I'm sorry. I chose the ones that I could see were using clinically significant strains within their probiotic supplement, right? But what you do see here, the green, dark green column obviously being doTERRA's PB Restore. When you go to the right, just the one to the right, that's the only other dual capsule you get in our South African market. There's only one strain in there, right? So it lacks the diversity. We have some probiotics that lack in the testing department, so almost nothing is ever tested for glyphosate in South Africa. It's not something that's really done here, although I think we should, because we don't have something like non-GMO corn in the country. And then we also have some of them that don't contain prebiotic fibers, so there's nothing for the probiotics to attach to and to get fueled from while they're doing their work. Some of them don't have encapsulation technology or enteric coating, and they contain bifidobacteria, which means you're paying for something that's going to get digested in the stomach and do absolutely nothing. All right. And then obviously the big glaring one, none of them have phages and none of them have a postbiotic. So that is clearly where we are standing out. Plus that we are tackling many different systems in the body, not just digestive health. I have really been waiting for the supplement for a long time. So how do we take it? Adults and teenagers, you're going to take 1 capsule a day. That's all that's necessary, with plenty of water. For maximum benefit, take it prior to a meal with healthy fats. Now we say prior to a meal because when it hits the stomach, the food is being digested and it's going to move at the correct pace for the outside capsule to open up, phages, prebiotics, and the postbiotic are going to come out, so they're going to start working. And then because the food is moving through your stomach and it starts going into the intestines, the second capsule can then open where it needs to in the intestines to deliver the probiotics where they need to be. If you're going to drink this directly before you go to bed, what's going to happen? You're going to lie there. Hopefully you're going to fall asleep because now you have Serenity Stick. But other than that, your digestion slows right down. So it's going to sit idle in your stomach acid for hours. And it's going to travel through both those capsules. So it's time dependent, and that's why you've got to do it just before a meal. Also, if you like hot, bitter, black coffee like I do, do not chug it down with your very hot beverage or very hot food. You're going to damage how the capsule is actually opened up and how it's released, and you're also going to damage the probiotics. All right, so take it before a regular meal, but don't chug it down with a very hot cup of coffee, okay? Then you're also going to be wasting your money. What are you going to experience? Well, you're definitely going to have some digestive comfort in the long run. In the beginning, it's going to be quite normal for you to experience temporary changes in your digestive system, maybe even in your bowel habits. This is normal. This is showing you that doTERRA's PB Restore is starting to work and your body is starting to adapt. And this will definitely subside within a couple of weeks. If you've never used a probiotic before, then obviously you are going to feel it more than someone else who has been using a lot of probiotics in the past. But what I do want to say here, this is going to be a life-changing supplement. on many levels, because I always, when I teach about gut health, I say, not everyone thinks they have a digestive issue, but everyone needs to look after the digestive health. And the reason for that is because you need to look after your microbiome, the microbes themselves. All right. I want to make mention of this. You do need to take full responsibility for your own health. Do not use this product, or any other product for that matter, from doTERRA or any other company, if you have a known sensitivity or an allergy to any of the ingredients in this product, okay? If you have an allergy to fish, do not drink Metapower collagen, all right? So definitely look at the list, because we are here to teach you to take responsibility for your own health. We are more microbe than human. We need our microbes to thrive. We seem to lose them along the way. We age, we poop them out, and we kill them off quicker than needs be with our lifestyle decisions. A healthy, diverse ecosystem is within our reach if we pay better attention to our microbiome. Let's eat better, let's move more, let's sleep better, let's become more stress resilient. Let's make better choices about toxins that we're putting inside of our bodies, even just regular irritants. Let's use the tools and the smart supplements that doTERRA provide to support us through our wellness journeys. Let's feel better. When we take care of our microbiome, it'll take care of us. Thank you.